and I want to thank you all for being here today, because today the committee will consider the nominations of Lou Raldi to be the ambassador to Uruguay, Arthur Fischer to be ambassador to Austria, Roman Pipco to be ambassador to Estonia, Stacy Fineberg to be ambassador to Luxembourg, and Nicholas Merik to be the ambassador to the Czech Republic. We do have a few members here with us to introduce our nominees. I know Congressman Donaldson has a conflict. Got to get somewhere here pretty quick, so I'm going to let you go first so you can get your introduction made, and then I know you'll have to excuse yourself. So Congressman Donalds, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Senator. Really appreciate you giving us a little bit of deference with things going on in the House. Senator Daines, Chairman Risch, Ranking Member Shaheen, and also Ranking Member Murphy. It's my pleasure to introduce my good friend, Ms. Stacy Fineberg. Ms. Fineberg has built a distinguished career with expertise spanning business, media, sports, and entertainment. Ms. Fineberg is currently the founder of 33 Capital, where she focuses on funding and supporting female entrepreneurs. She is a frequent judge at venture capital competitions, a speaker on various industry panels, and a leader of the JR VC program at the Junior VC program at the Women's Founders Network. Additionally, she is a co-producer of various Broadway musicals, including the female-led Broadway hit Jagged Little Pill. If you didn't know, Ms. Fineberg has a little bit of a flair for the dramatic. They're going to love her in Luxembourg. As a strategic advisor, she is deeply committed to empowering women, helping them launch their careers and scale their businesses. Ms. Fineberg started her career at Bob Wolf Associates, her father's pioneering sports and entertainment law firm. They negotiated contracts and managed the careers of over 500 clients, including legendary figures like Larry Bird, Larry King, Joe Montana, and the New Kids on the Block. She founded the firm's literary division, which developed numerous best-selling autobiographies. She helped establish Champions as the first national sports bar chain with locations in Marriotts throughout the country. Ms. Fineberg has lectured at Harvard Law School, was featured in the Harvard Negotiation Project's Getting to Yes series, attended the Business of Entertainment, Media, and Sports program at Harvard Business School, and received her BS from Northwestern University. Ms. Fineberg's extensive career highlights her versatility across industries. With her demonstrated leadership and business acumen, she is an excellent candidate to serve as ambassador to Luxembourg. I am confident they will appreciate her savvy, hardworking, and I will tell you personally, exquisite charm as the nation's diplomat to Luxembourg. It is my honor to introduce to the committee my friend, and you're going to love her today, Ms. Stacy Fineberg. And I yield back.
Congressman Donalds, thank you. It's good to have you over here on the Senate side. Thanks for that great introduction. Senator Cornyn, I believe you have an introduction here this morning.
Thank you, Chairman Daines, and it's a pleasure to introduce Nick Merik to be ambassador to the Czech Republic. And Nick comes, of course, with stellar credentials, as you might expect. Of course, a Bachelor of Science degree in Business and Commerce at UVA, a very fine school where I happened to spend a little bit of time and fell in love with Mr. Jefferson's University a few years ago. He was also a star athlete on the football team, and I just met his son who plays at Texas A&M.
Yep,
Okay.
very soon. Yep, thanks.
He went to Harvard University for his MBA. He's a seasoned businessman with extensive experience in overseeing large-scale business deals as founder and president of Mount Vernon Investments. He served as CFO at Telco Communications Group, where he facilitated the sale of Telco to XL Communications for $1.2 billion. He served as CFO of XL Communications. He was pivotal also in facilitating key capital investments in President Trump's Truth Social platform after he was banned from X, of course, formerly known as Twitter. Nick spent a lot of time in public service to the Dallas community. He was chairman of the Board of Trustees for the Dallas Police and Fire Pension System, where he worked to ensure the stability of pension funds, to ensure that our police and firefighters who serve in dangerous roles every day are fairly compensated. He also served as a high school teacher, lending his expertise in business and ethics to high schoolers at Sisterian Preparatory School in Dallas. Nick's demonstrated leadership in the business world, paired with his willingness to serve his community, make him well qualified to serve our country in his role as ambassador to the Czech Republic. I'm grateful to Mr. Merik for the myriad of contributions he's made to communities across Texas and for his willingness to serve not just Texas, but the United States on the world stage. So congratulations, Nick. It's a pleasure to introduce you, and I look forward to supporting your nomination. And it's great to meet your wife and daughters and son. Congratulations to all of you.
Senator Cornyn, thank you. Before I turn this to Senator Cruz for also introductory remarks, I will say the Daines family is very proud that last night we had a new grandbaby born in Dallas, Texas. So in front of our two Texas senators, Nick Merik and many Texans here, we've got another Texas grandbaby, the Daines family does, which we're very proud of. So both mom and new grandson are doing great. We're very thankful for that this morning. Senator Cruz.
Well, congratulations on the new baby Texan. Thrilling news. And good morning to everyone. It's good to see several friends on this panel today, and congratulations on your nominations. It is an honor today to introduce a great Texan and a friend, Nick Merik. Nick has a storied history of bringing companies to great success, leading firms, and navigating the business world. He began his career as senior vice president at the Robinson Humphrey Company before moving into the telecommunications sector, where he served as CFO of Telco Communications Group. He led the company's $1.2 billion sale to XL Communications, where he remained as CFO and board member, helping to execute a $3.5 billion merger with Teleglobe Incorporated. He later expanded his expertise into healthcare through his work on the investment subcommittee of Texas Health Resources and into wealth management as a board member of Tiedemann Advisors. He now serves as the founder and president of Mount Vernon Investments, LP, managing over $1.6 billion in assets. Nick also served as chairman of the Dallas Police and Fire Pension System, where he helped stabilize the fund and secure wage adjustments for first responders. Additionally, he has spent 13 years as a part-time teacher at the Sisterian Preparatory School. Nick earned his bachelor's degree in commerce from the University of Virginia and his MBA from Harvard, establishing a strong foundation in business, investment, cooperation, and leadership. I have no doubt that he will bring these talents with him to the Czech Republic, and he will continue to cultivate a strong bond between our two countries. Nick is the right person to serve as ambassador to the Czech Republic, and I encourage my colleagues to support his nomination.
Senator Cruz, thank you. Now I'm going to turn to Senator Paul for introduction.
It is my honor to introduce Lou Raldi, the nominee to be the U.S. Ambassador to Uruguay. Lou is the embodiment of the American dream. Born in Italy, Lou's family moved to Uruguay when he was just 4 years old. He grew up in Uruguay and has an intimate understanding of the nation's people, culture, and history. He would go on to emigrate to our country, to the United States, when he was just 19 years old and worked his way up from bricklayer to launching his own successful construction company. While in New York, Lou developed a friendship with a little-known businessman. I can't believe this was ever true. A little-known businessman named Donald Trump, but they are good friends. Future President Trump quickly became a family friend, and in 2013, when Lou's son sadly passed away, President Trump was right there by his side. Mm-hmm. I'm confident that Lou's business acumen, his leadership skills, his fluency in Spanish, and of course his deep understanding of Uruguay and strong personal relationships with the president and leaders in the region make him eminently qualified to serve as our ambassador to Uruguay. Lou's exactly the right person to enhance U.S.-Uruguay relations at this critical time, and I'm confident he will represent Americans' interests honorably. Congratulations.
Senator Paul, thank you. I'm going to turn now to Senator Haggerty.
Thank you, Chairman Daines, and congratulations to all of the nominees today. It's wonderful to see such an outstanding board here before us. I want to take a particular moment, though, to introduce a good friend of mine, Mr. Arthur Fischer, who's been nominated by President Trump to be our nominee to be ambassador to Austria. Art is an eighth-generation native of Brevard, North Carolina, a successful businessman, and certainly a patriot. A gentleman who understands the importance of hard work, leadership, and civic duty. Art's nomination to serve as U.S. Ambassador to Austria reflects not only his personal character and professional accomplishments, but also his strong belief in the importance of public service and diplomacy that's rooted in principle. Indeed, Art's family is no stranger to public service. His late grandfather, Dwight Moffat, served as a medic in the European theater during World War II and later as a county commissioner in North Carolina. Art, as a businessman in North Carolina, built a career centered on integrity, strategic vision, and service to his community. He's the president and broker of Fischer Realty, a family business that he's grown into a regional powerhouse. His firm is known not just for its success, but also for its trustworthiness and for its civic engagement, which are very important reflections of the character of Art Fischer. His commitment to leadership was evident from an early age. At 18, Art was named Mr. Future Business Leader of North Carolina and one of the top 10 future business leaders in America. Art's qualities have since been recognized with board positions at United Community Bank, the North Carolina Travel and Tourism Board, and the Boys and Girls Club, as well as Brevard College. If confirmed, Art will bring to Austria not just experience and knowledge, but also the warmth and decency that define the very best of American character. Art has an acute appreciation for the vast variety of cultures and societies of the world, fostered by travel to all 7 continents and over 100 countries. That global experience gives Art a cultural sensitivity and a strategic mindset that will serve him well as America's top diplomat in Vienna. I've no doubt Art will serve our country with distinction, promoting our interest and strengthening our long-standing friendship with Austria. Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity for introducing my friend Art Fischer.
Sir Haggerty, thank you. Before I start my opening remarks, I'd just like to clarify the chair will be afforded 5 minutes for opening remarks. After my remarks, we will hear from our nominees, and then each member will be allotted 5 minutes for questions. I also want to echo Chairman Risch's leadership on this committee and remind our attendees this is not an event for audience participation, and that any such interruptions will be met with swift removal. Nominees, thank you for joining us here today and for stepping forward to serve our great country. We woke up this morning, we woke up in the greatest country in the world, of which we are grateful for, and that is a blessing. Also, a special thank you to your families for sharing with you the burden of service to this great nation. Under President Trump and Secretary Rubio, America is back on the world stage, and the days of the United States being pushed around are over. Secretary Rubio is playing an integral role in advancing America's interests abroad, cracking down on foreign terrorist organizations like MS-13 and the Tren de Aragua, and has played a vital role in securing the NATO Secretary General's commitment to increase defense spending across Europe. The State Department is also in the middle of reform that is cutting waste, fraud, abuse, which only strengthens the ability of our diplomats around the globe to fulfill their very important mission. It's important to remember that the world remains a dangerous place. Enemies of the United States are working to ensure that the United States and our allies do not continue to be a beacon of hope and democracy for those who face tyranny or oppression. Unfortunately, no city in the world is safe. So far in 2025 alone, there have been over a dozen terror attacks throughout Europe. Cities such as Munich, Vienna, Paris have all seen horrific terror attacks. While all of you have been nominated to serve with allies of the United States, these attacks show there are challenges no matter where you are stationed around the world. The fact that you are here today shows that President Trump believes you have the diplomatic fortitude, the leadership qualities to meet the challenges that you will face ahead. Transnational criminal organizations, foreign cyber attacks, trade negotiations, and unfortunately, wayward terrorists will all be complications of your posts. President Trump will need your expertise in advancing U.S. economic and national security interest, serving American citizens abroad, and furthering the administration's agenda. Through bilateral trade, investment, and defense cooperation, we can increase prosperity, advance regional security, far more than a singular country could do on its own, but it won't be without opposition. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has highlighted the vulnerabilities of Europe's energy grid. Yet, with EU methane regulations, lack of new infrastructure, and the green hallucination, there is an absence of investment into realistic alternatives. There's been commendable progress amongst a few select countries, but there are still significant self-imposed vulnerabilities that could be addressed with bilateral investment and a bit of common sense. Within the next 2 years, there will be 16 federal elections across Europe. These are significant targets for Russian cyber operations such as hybrid threats, influence campaigns, and election interference. Cybersecurity offers a new frontier of opportunities for U.S. collaboration and the NATO Cooperative Cyber Defense Center. It will be up to each of you to address these and other challenges while motivating our allies to meet their defense commitments. Again, I thank you and your families for your willingness to serve, and I look forward to your testimonies. With that, I'd like to recognize our nominees for their testimony. Mr. Rinaldi, we'll begin with yourself.
Mr. Chairman, ranking member, and distinguished committee members, it is an honor to be here.
Mr. Rinaldi, you push there we go. Thank you. We want to be able to hear you.
Mr. Chairman, ranking members, and distinguished committee members, it is an honor to be here with you today. I'm grateful to President Trump for nominating me the next U.S. Ambassador to Oriental Republic of Uruguay, and to Secretary of State Marco Rubio for his support throughout this process. I also want to thank my family for their support, including my wife, 50 years, Lori, who's here today, my 3 children, Michael, Angela, and Louis, and my 7 grandchildren, Ariana, Giovanna, Luca, Roman, Leo, Vincent, and Sienna. And while he's no longer with us, our beautiful son, Robert, whom we lost to cancer in 2013. He's here with us in spirit. I grew up in Uruguay. I know the culture, and I know the people well. 1973, I walked in the U.S. Embassy in Montevideo as a teenager with almost nothing, and I was assured a visa to the United States. That building inspired me and stood for hope and freedom. More than 50 years later, I appear before you as a nominee to return to the same building as United States Ambassador. This is the honor of a lifetime, and I share this with you in the hope that inspires others. After immigrating to the United States, I was fortunate to build a successful business and start a family in a country that provided me incredible opportunities. I'm grateful for all that America has given me. I take this responsibility seriously, and I'm committed to advancing America's prosperity, strength, and security in close partnership with Uruguay. From day one, President Trump created a foreign policy vision that puts the U.S. national interest at the center of our foreign policy. It reinforces our strong commitment to reaching peace through strength while putting U.S. values, independence, and safety first. When Secretary Marco Rubio spoke to this committee, he put this vision into action by creating a simple approach. Does it make America safer? Does it make America stronger? Does it make America prosperous? If I'm confirmed, I guarantee that everything we do will advance American national interests and make America safer, stronger, and more prosperous. The U.S.-Uruguay relationship is rooted on shared values, common interests, and over 150-year history. Uruguay is a value partner that has a large middle class and a stable democracy and growing high-tech sector. As the most democratic country in South America, Uruguay has made it clear they want to maintain close ties to the United States. On this solid foundation, I will advance the interests of the United States by focusing on 3 key areas: enhancing economic ties between our two nations, and providing public security in our hemisphere, and working with Uruguay to support democracy and human rights. The United States is one of Uruguay's largest trading partners and an important investor, the United States buys over 70% of Uruguay's service exports, estimated value $1.7 billion. Uruguay looks to American companies for investment expertise. New technologies and industries are growing quickly in Uruguay, and the United States will continue to be a key partner. If I'm confirmed, I will focus on cementing important economic relationship between the United States and Uruguay and expand commercial opportunities for American companies. We cannot build long-term economic growth for both of our countries without improvements to public security. President Trump has promised to crack down on international criminal groups, something that new Orsi administration in Uruguay also supports. I will use every tool available to help fight international criminal organizations and all forms of trafficking and money laundering. Uruguay is a strong and steady democracy that plays an important role both in the region and around the world. By speaking up for democracy and human rights, for many years, it has been a leader in protecting free election and fair government in the Americas. If I'm confirmed, I will support Uruguay in using a strong voice to stand firmly against the dictatorship in Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, and continue defending the values we share. I recognize the responsibility that I have to the American people, the Constitution, President Donald J. Trump, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Congress members of the United States. I look forward to continue our discussion and advancing U.S. foreign policy in Uruguay and answer any question that you have today. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Mr. Raldi, thank you for your testimony. Mr. Fischer.
Thank you, Senator Daines. Chairman Risch, Chairman Daines, Ranking Member Shaheen, Ranking Member Murphy, and distinguished members of the committee. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to appear before you today and for your consideration to allow me to serve as United States Ambassador to the Republic of Austria. And thank you, Senator Hagerty, for your kind introduction and for being not only a mentor, but a friend. Serving America, whether as a United States Senator, member of the Armed Services, or United States Ambassador, is the greatest honor any of us could ever have. I would like to thank President Trump for bestowing his confidence in me by nominating me to serve, and thank the American people for their many contributions in making this the greatest land on earth. I want to express my heartfelt condolences and love to the Austrian people and the families and loved ones of the victims of the tragic shooting in Graz. We appreciate Chancellor Stocker's leadership in going directly to visit the site and those affected, and remain a steadfast partner to our friends in Austria in condemning any acts of violence. If confirmed, it will be a pleasure to work with Chancellor Stocker and other members of the Austrian government to further advance our important and mutually beneficial relationship. Since inception almost 250 years ago, America has been a beacon of hope and opportunity for a multitude of people across the world. Our great nation has also been a warm blanket on a cold night to nations in need and those aspiring to embody the virtues of democracy. The relationship and friendship between the United States and Austria is long-standing and strong. This year marks the 77th anniversary of the signing of the Marshall Plan, which helped in the reconstruction of Europe after World War II and set the stage for a relationship between our two countries that continues to grow. If confirmed, my top priority as Chief of Mission will always be the safety and security of our American citizens. It will be my honor to help each and every one of them, no matter the circumstance and no matter their political persuasion. It will also be a top priority to work with both U.S. and Austrian-based companies to create additional jobs and investment between our two countries, and to strengthen our important trading partnership that has existed for decades. Austria was the fastest growing source market for foreign direct investment into the U.S. in 2021 and the 8th fastest growing market in 2023. As Americans, we benefit greatly from being both the second largest trading partner and export market of Austria, creating thousands of jobs in the United States. As we approach the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II and the Holocaust, may we remember the long-standing historical and cultural ties between Austria and the United States. Following the liberation of the Mauthausen and Gusen Nazi concentration camps by the U.S. Army and the U.S.'s role in Austria's transition to democracy, generations of Austrians have looked to the United States as a friend and liberator. We celebrate that this relationship is further enhanced by Austria's commitment to combat anti-Semitism, a leading priority of the Trump administration. With your permission to serve as a representative of both President Trump and America, I will work persistently to ensure that we remember the past so that it will never be repeated, and to perpetuate and respect the religious freedom of every human being. In appreciation of your service to our great country, thank you for your consideration to allow me to represent America, a nation and international brand that stands for excellence, fairness, prosperity, and hope for a brighter future for all those who believe in the power of democracy. I welcome and look forward to taking your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Fischer. Mr. Pipco.
Thank you, Chairman Daines and distinguished members of the committee. It is an honor and privilege to appear before you today. I'm compelled to begin my testimony with a tribute to this amazing country, only in America. In fact, I know several other people nominated by President Trump who are immigrants to this country and feel the same way. One of them is sitting on this very panel. Each of us has a unique story, but we're all united by our love for this great country. I came to the United States in 1981 as a poor refugee from the oppressive regime of the former Soviet Union. Now, 40 years later, I sit in front of this august body as a participant in the process mandated by the United States Constitution. Truly, only in America. This country opened for me unimaginable opportunities, and I'm grateful for this honor. As you can tell, for me, these hearings are intensely personal, very emotional, but also profoundly symbolic for what this process and this country stand for. I want to thank President Trump for nominating me to be the ambassador to the Republic of Estonia. It is a privilege of a lifetime to represent him and this country, and I'm deeply humbled. I also want to thank the committee and every senator on the committee for giving me the opportunity to testify today. It is a true honor, and I'm grateful for your time and your consideration. I want to thank every American who helped me on my way, Republican and Democrat, male and female, black and white. Their generosity will always stay in my heart. I also want to thank my family, my father and my father-in-law, who I hope can see these proceedings from high above. They would have never thought that this was possible. My mother, who made heroic efforts to bring me to this country. And most importantly, my wife and my 3 children. They're sitting right here. Without their love and unwavering support, I would have never be here today. And finally, I also want to thank Estonia and its many people for all they have done for my family and for me when I lived there in order to prepare me for this improbable journey. If confirmed by you and by the full Senate, I will be going as the American ambassador to the country of my birth, which has made tremendous strides in the last few decades. Estonia is one of the smallest member countries of the European Union and NATO, but it is a true leader in two of the most critical areas singled out by this administration. First, defense spending. I support President Trump for his unprecedented efforts to bring peace to Europe. Estonia has always been a reliable and steadfast ally of the United States. Its soldiers participated shoulder to shoulder with US troops in operations in Iraq, Afghanistan, and other countries. Estonia invests in US equipment and hosts US forces on its territory. And now, in response to the request by the Trump administration, it has already committed to spend approximately 5.4% of its GDP annually on military expenditures. It is a historic undertaking by Estonia and makes it a model partner of the United States, as recently recognized by the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Defense. The second metric emphasized by this administration is openness of the country's market for trade and investment. The Wall Street Journal and Heritage Foundation 2025 Index of Economic Freedom, which reviews 184 countries of the world, has ranked Estonia 8th in the world and 5th in Europe. These are unparalleled achievements and make Estonia an exemplary partner of the United States. In addition, the United States and Estonia cooperate closely on cybersecurity, energy, and law enforcement. I look forward to continuing this work together with the superb staff of the US Embassy in Estonia in order to confront global challenges and promote shared priorities. Mr. Chairman, the relationship between the United States and Estonia is strong. If confirmed by the committee and the full Senate, I have three distinct objectives as an ambassador of the United States to the Republic of Estonia. First, I will protect and strengthen the interests of the United States. Above all, it means that the security and well-being of the US citizens is my paramount priority. Second, I will promote, support, and defend the policies of President Trump and his administration. And finally, I will promote durable, bilateral, political, military, economic, and cultural relations between the United States and the Republic of Estonia. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Pipco, thank you. Ms. Fineberg.
Thank you. Chairman Daines, distinguished members of the committee, and my dear friend Congressman Byron Donalds, who with all he has on his plate honored me with his gracious introduction today. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you as President Donald J. Trump's nominee to serve as the United States Ambassador to the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. It is the greatest honor of my life to be considered for this role. I'm immensely grateful for the confidence President Trump has placed in me. If confirmed, I pledge to champion America's interests in Luxembourg and work hard to advance America's security and prosperity through an enhanced partnership with them. First, I'd like to take a moment to thank my incredible family, who are truly everything to me. I'm especially grateful to the person I'm lucky to share my life with, Dr. Steve O'Brien, who's here with me today offering his constant love and support. My greatest achievements are my 4 children, Robbie, Michael, Bailey, and Joy. Like many women, I chose to pause my career to raise them. I never missed a basketball game or a dance recital. I was the room mom, lunch lady, field trip chaperone. I even got to read to their class weekly through 6th grade. I'm still not sure if it was my dramatic storytelling or the homemade brownies. It doesn't matter. I loved it all, and I wouldn't have changed a thing. And today, all 4 are my best friends. My grandparents fled the violent pogroms of Eastern Europe in search of safety and a better future. They found refuge on the shores of Portland, Maine. They would never believe that their granddaughter might one day become a United States ambassador. I know they're with my wonderful parents right now in heaven, cheering me on. I'll carry their strength, dreams, and profound patriotism with me every step of the way. My mother, Ann Wolfe, was the embodiment of empathy, caring, and unconditional love. My father, Bob Wolfe, not only taught me how to be a savvy businesswoman, but the overarching importance of integrity, ethics, and trust. As the very first sports agent who pioneered the field of sports law, he was not only known for being a master negotiator, but for the manner in which he did it. His motto was, "You don't have to be disagreeable to disagree." His word was his bond. He closed deals with handshakes, not pens. His last book, entitled Friendly Persuasion, says it all. I will conduct myself in this very same manner while representing President Trump and the American people. From working alongside my father negotiating contracts for over 500 world-famous athletes and entertainers, to the world of finance, supporting female entrepreneurship, I've strived to make a difference and support endeavors I'm proud of. These principles will guide my efforts in strengthening the U.S.-Luxembourg trade relationship, where I hope to facilitate bold new opportunities for both countries, not only in finance and steel, but in the exciting industries of the future, including space, satellites, cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence. Our partnership with Luxembourg is built on our shared values of freedom, security, and the power of free markets. We have so much in common, and I hope to work shoulder to shoulder, helping both countries maximize their opportunities. However, this can only be achieved if we are equally focused on safety and security. Together, we can protect both our nations from China's undue influence and economic coercion. China's aggressive behavior cannot go unchecked. As a major financial center, Luxembourg can and should do more to scrutinize and constrain China's interests within Europe. I also hope to address China's infiltration of their education system. It's unfortunate that our ally and trading partner renewed its participation in China's Belt and Road Initiative in 2024. If confirmed, I will encourage the Luxembourg government to re-examine their relationship with China. As a founding member of NATO, I believe the Luxembourg government will honor their commitment to meet their NATO obligations. I am confident they want to ensure our alliance remains strong by paying their fair share. I look forward to working closely with them to help get to President Trump's 5% goal. In closing, if confirmed, the values that have shaped my life and career will be the foundation of my work as ambassador to Luxembourg. I am humbled and honored that President Trump has entrusted me to advance the shared goals of our two great countries. I've been blessed to have had a lifetime of extraordinary experiences. However, nothing compares to this opportunity to represent President Trump, Secretary Rubio, and the United States of America during this monumental time in history. Thank you for having me today. I'd be happy to answer your questions.
Ms. Fineberg, thank you. Mr. Merik.
Thank you, Chairman Daines and distinguished members of the committee, and thank you, Senator Cornyn and Senator Cruz, for the kind introduction. It is an honor to appear before you today as President Trump's nominee to be the next United States ambassador to the Czech Republic, and I am deeply grateful for the trust and confidence that the President and Secretary Rubio have placed in me with this nomination. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to my wife of 35 years, Leslie, and to our 4 children, son-in-law, and grandson, many of whom are here today. I would also like to acknowledge my late mother, Dr. Judith Merik, a history professor who instilled in me a love of learning and a deep interest in European history. I come before you with a profound sense of duty and commitment to serve our great nation and to work to ensure that President Trump's America First agenda is carried out to the fullest. And one of its core principles and a top priority for me will always be to safeguard the lives and well-beings of Americans in Czechia. Also, since Czechia is both a trusted ally and a vital partner, I'm eager to strengthen our bilateral relationship, enhance our mutual security, and promote shared prosperity. My professional background is that of a businessman. My 40-year career has spanned the industries of investment banking, telecommunications, and investment management. The consistent theme in all of my endeavors has been the concept of team victories. the DNA of which goes back to my days of playing college football. I've never wanted to accomplish anything alone, and my most satisfying experiences have been playing both large and small parts in other people's success stories. That's been true for me in business and in nonprofit pursuits. For the last 13 years, I have been a part-time high school teacher, and for the last 7 years, I have been a trustee and 3-year chairman of the pension fund serving retired Dallas police and firemen. If confirmed, I will bring that collaborative instinct to bear in my role as ambassador, and will work with the administration and Congress to further our partnership with the Czechs. The United States and Czechia share a long history of friendship and cooperation built on a foundation of shared values. Indeed, 80 years ago, General Patton and his Third Army helped liberate the city of Pilsen in what is now Western Czechia, shedding American blood on Czech soil for the sake of freedom. Today, the U.S.-Czech partnership is stronger than ever, and if confirmed, I will work tirelessly to ensure that our relationship continues to thrive. There are many decisions Czechia has made that I admire and that closely align with U.S. interests. Most notably, since 2022, Czechia has migrated from near complete reliance on Russian natural gas to almost total Western sourcing, including U.S.-procured LNG. The United States has a long history of showing up, supporting our partners, and backing up our rhetoric with actions and resources. And Czechia has demonstrated that in many ways it shares this same genetic code. If confirmed, one of my top priorities will be to enhance the mutual security of the United States and Czechia. Czechia is a steadfast member of NATO, an outsized supporter of Ukraine, and a crucial player in the alliance's efforts to maintain stability in Europe. I will work to strengthen our defense cooperation, to boost Czechia's NATO defense contributions, and to support Czechia's efforts to modernize their armed forces, such as the recent decision to purchase Lockheed Martin F-35 aircraft in a $5 billion transaction. I will also focus on expanding our economic and commercial ties. My career in investment management has given me experience with every investable asset class and many early-stage businesses. Today, President Trump's policies, underpinned by the principles of free markets and morally grounded capitalism, are enabling a rare opportunity for expanded wealth creation and truly shared prosperity. My goal is to bring that opportunity to bear for the benefit of America first and also for our economic partners in Czechia. Czechia is a dynamic and innovative economy with significant potential for growth. I will work for the United States' participation in that growth by advocating for balanced trade policies, including right-sizing our existing trade deficit, and by facilitating specific opportunities for U.S. businesses. In conclusion, I am deeply honored to be considered for United States Ambassador to the Czech Republic. If confirmed, I will advance U.S. national interests, strengthen our bilateral relationship, and promote American values. And I am confident that we and our Czech partners, as good teammates with like-minded principles, can build a safer, stronger, and more prosperous future for both of our nations. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. I look forward to answering your questions.
Mr. Merik, thank you. And before I start my questions, an observation. I'm very proud of the President in nominating truly 5 outstanding candidates here to be ambassadors. Each of you are uniquely qualified to represent our great country in where you will soon be headed if confirmed. So thank you to the President, and thanks to you for saying yes to consider this important responsibility. I'm going to start with Mr. Pipco. Estonia is on the front lines of Russian aggression. In fact, just a few weeks ago, a Russian fighter jet violated Estonian airspace while protecting an illicit oil shipment transiting the Baltic. 2 Estonian politicians were also recently arrested after they tried to set up a Russian-backed militia in the country. Estonia has banned the import of Russian natural gas and oil products and sources all of its energy either domestically or from more reliable partners. Lastly, they plan to spend over 5% of GDP on defense by the end of the decade. My question, Mr. Pipco, is how can you as an ambassador work with Estonia and your fellow diplomats to ensure that the other European nations follow Estonia's example and embrace the reality of the threat that Russia poses?
Senator, thank you for that question. I understand that you have visited Estonia and Ukraine, so you clearly know all of those issues firsthand. It has been a strong priority of this administration to make sure that every member of NATO increases its respective spending on defense. And I fully support that effort. As you have just said, Estonia not only committed its own resources to defense spending, but it has also been a clear voice within NATO in supporting American call for the increased spending. In fact, some people have called Estonia a megaphone for American requests. In light of recent demands by Russia, it seems to me that most members of NATO now understand that the very mission of NATO is now being questioned by Russia. I think those issues are going to be addressed at the upcoming summit of NATO at the end of this month. If confirmed by this committee and by the Senate, I would certainly make it my priority to work with Estonian government and other members of NATO to make sure that the decisions that are made in The Hague at the end of the month at the NATO summit are effectively implemented.
Thank you. Mr. Merik, as you may know, energy security is national security. Recently, after months of legal review, the Czech government is moving forward with construction of 2 nuclear reactors. Mr. Merik, how is this a change from Czech's historical energy posture, and is there an opportunity for advancing U.S. investment in European nuclear energy production?
Senator, thank you for that question. As I mentioned in my remarks, Czechia has migrated completely away from Russian natural gas to U.S. largely procured LNG, and they've always had nuclear power, so that they were not a European country that didn't go into nuclear or turned away from it. They had nuclear power. They're now building some new plants, and there's also some discussion about some of the small SMR plants going forward. I would like to point out that an American company, Westinghouse, it's my understanding, is going to play a role in this new reactor, the 2 that are being built, and also that American companies will also participate in replacing Russian companies in terms of providing nuclear fuel to the existing nuclear plants. So I completely agree with your remarks about energy security, and I think Czechia has done a great job in that area and in many other areas.
Thank you, Mr. Merik. I'm going to turn now to Senator Cornyn.
Thank you, Chairman Daines. I want to assure all the nominees that the fact that there's not a lot of filled seats here is a good sign, not a bad sign. I assure you that if any of your nominations were controversial, it would be jam-packed. So that's great, and congratulations. There's just a couple of things I want to touch on. And Mr. Merik, you talked about General Patton, which reminded me of my dad was a B-17 pilot in the Army Air Corps and flew 26 missions over Germany before he was shot down and captured as a POW. And I know he and what Tom Brokaw called the greatest generation thought that would be the last time the United States would be involved in a land war or a world war, certainly a land war in Europe. But we see the importance of America's role in that, but I want to agree with several of you who talked about the importance of NATO members' investment in their own self-defense. The treaty, in fact, of course, is an agreement for collective self-defense, but it also includes a Section 5, which says if one member of NATO is attacked, the others will come to its defense, including the United States. So this is a very precarious situation. I don't think we've seen a more dangerous time since World War II in the world. And of course, The United States has responsibilities not just in Europe, but responsibilities around the world, and most emphatically in the Indo-Pacific, which could be an existential threat to the United States and our way of life. Mr. Pipco, I was intrigued by, of course, the fact you were an immigrant, Mr. Rinaldi. To me, it's something we should celebrate in America, and both of you alluded to this. The American dream is still alive, and I think we need to be constantly reminded of that today. But you also have had a fair amount of experience dealing in Russia. Not only you were born in Estonia during the time of the Soviet Union, and I think one of the things that most Americans maybe don't fully understand is sort of the cultural and historical mindset of the Russian leadership. President Trump is doing exactly what we would all hope he would do by trying to bring peace to the conflict between Ukraine and Russia, because they're approaching 1 million casualties already. And as he said, the dying must stop. But unfortunately, it takes more than one person, one more party to try to negotiate that. Is there anything that maybe you could share with us based upon your experience in Estonia and dealing in Russia over the years that could help inform us about how best to think about this potential resolution of the conflict, or about the sort of what, I'm not going to ask you to read Putin's state of mind. That's a very inscrutable thing to ask, but anything you'd like to share with us on that topic?
Thank you, Senator, for your kind words. The American dream is clearly alive, and hopefully will be that way for at least another 250 years. That's what we're all working for. I would say two things in response to your question. Number one, I would actually quote the foreign minister of Estonia, who, in my mind, said just a few weeks ago an incredible thing. He said, "We in Europe were awakened by President Trump, not by President Putin." I think that statement says it all. Mm-hmm. I think Europe now recognizes that President Trump was right. He managed to change the narrative of the conflict, and I certainly support his efforts to bring peace to the continent. I think it's incredibly important. The second thing that I'll say, which I think echoes a little what Tulsi Gabbard said a few days ago, but I'll put it a little bit differently. I'm probably one of the few people here who knew personally, very well actually, high-level individuals who were negotiating during the Cuban Missile Crisis. I knew the person in the United States who was President Kennedy's advisor, and I see my time is running out, the person who had the same position in Russia. All I can say based on my discussions with them, we have to stand firm, very firm, but we have to be creative in order to avoid another crisis.
Well, I appreciate that, and I agree with you that President Trump's call to greater vigilance by our NATO partners, and which means not only a financial contribution, but a contribution to reestablish deterrence, to me is one of the most important things that we've seen during his tenure as President of the United States. And his call, reminder that peace only comes through strength, and that weakness is a provocation to authoritarian figures like Mr. Putin and others. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
Senator Cornyn, thank you. Ms. Fineberg, let's talk about Luxembourg. Luxembourg has prioritized its tech sector and encouraged development of AI and other advanced technologies. The country also offers a favorable tax and a regulatory environment, so there are many large companies very happy to invest in Luxembourg. That being said, Luxembourg also has closely partnered with China. on tech development despite the U.S. government's concerns regarding data security. Ms. Steinberg, how can you as an ambassador encourage high-tech innovation and cooperation between the United States and Luxembourg while at the same time maintaining data and IP security?
Thank you, Senator Daines, and thank you for that question, and thank you for the time that you gave me yesterday. I appreciate that. Yes, China is a bad actor. Their intentions are nefarious. Lucifer does not show up looking like the devil. It is difficult to be able to often tell friend from foe. But let me just tell you, the corporate espionage and the deception that they are causing throughout Europe is extraordinary. And honestly, much of Europe, and Luxembourg in particular, I feel, and I say this with humility, are not educated like we are on actually what they're doing. They don't come in the front door. They come in the crawl spaces. They have things that are very considered innocuous, like their Confucius Institutes, which are not really for higher learning. They're for propaganda, or the Chinese Student Scholars Association. Again, it sounds lovely, but they're educating spies to take the IP and bring it back to China. We have to work with Luxembourg to help them with investment screening, particularly by the Chinese. The proliferation of Chinese banks is overwhelming. The second largest bank in Luxembourg, the Bank International of Luxembourg, is 90% owned by the Chinese. I think if we looked at some others, we would see that as well. Other things that happen, Nuvatech is a Chinese screening company. They're registered in Poland so that they can bid on contracts throughout Europe, including in Luxembourg, and they do all the scanning at ports, plane and train stations. The TSA, of course, here has made them ineligible. That's scary. And again, I don't believe they really understand yet what is going on. And I humbly would like to educate them. It's like watching a movie and you see the video but not the audio. You don't really get the whole picture. And so I applaud them for filing a criminal suit against SpaceT, the Chinese satellite company that was sharing satellite information of Ukraine to the Russians. They shut them down. They're trying their best. We are the best partner for Luxembourg, for artificial intelligence, for cybersecurity, for space, for all things going forward, because like Luxembourg, we share a stable financial system, a stable government, and we have so much in common. And I believe that we also will be able to help them uncouple from China, and also to help enforce the anti-bullying laws that the EU has stipulated, and offer our protection when the Chinese will make it difficult to uncouple. And I will do my best to help accomplish this.
Ms. Fineberg, thank you. Mr. Fischer, of course, as you know, Austria is not a member of NATO, but they can be a good partner and are a good partner of the United States on mutual security concerns. Austria and the United States formalized a defense cooperation system through the National Guard State Partnership Program, which creates opportunities for expanded partnerships. Mr. Fischer, how can the United States work to establish closer defense cooperation with Austria while at the same time respecting the nation's long-standing policy of neutrality and hence not being a member of NATO?
Thank you, Chairman Daines, and I also would like to say thank you to Senator Cornyn for referencing and honoring the greatest generation. When we think about it, it's because of the greatest generation that we are a free country, that Europe is free, and they essentially saved Western democracy. So we honor that. It's a very important relationship that we have with Austria, very long-standing, and we will always respect their neutrality, but they have always been a trustworthy and reliable security partner. We were very happy to see the relationship that was established with the Vermont National Guard in 2021. And we look forward to increasing the relationship as we move forward. Our goals are in unity with the strength and stability of Europe, not just in Austria, but in Europe and the United States. And we'll certainly, if confirmed, look forward to being a big part of that conversation.
Mr. Fischer, thank you. Mr. Rinaldi, I'm from Montana, so I got to talk about cows here a little bit. In my great state, we have a million people and about 3 million cows. This is an important topic. But looking at the Uruguay's ranchers, farmers, their overall cattle industry, they suffered a collapse due to the $350 million cow bond scam. In fact, earlier this year, I visited Argentina. I had the opportunity to see the flourishing partnership actually between Montana and Argentine beef ranchers. Who knew that some of these great, beautiful Black Angus I was looking at in Argentina originated in Montana in terms of their genetics? Do you think there's an opportunity for Uruguay to establish such a partnership with U.S. ranchers, given their cow bond scam they had, as a way to rebuild and create a thriving cattle industry?
Yes, Uruguay is a great partner of the United States, so I think they have a great system and a great relationship with the United States. They mostly have cattle and they have agriculture industry in Uruguay, and they had a collapse, economy collapse in around 2003. And they have some kind of scam going on in Uruguay, some corporate. What the information I have is not clear, but I just heard some about this situation. Well, if I'm opposed, when I'm opposed, I will look into it, and I think we can do some kind of agreement with the United States and ranchers and Uruguay. They're willing to do anything to work with the United States. They're a very loyal ally to the United States, right. So they will really work with the United States. I will encourage them to do that.
More follow-up question, too. This is regarding BRICS. This July, Rio de Janeiro is going to host the annual BRICS Summit, and it's Brazil, Colombia are both pressuring Uruguay to attend, if not outright join BRICS. Do you perceive BRICS, as well as China's Belt and Road Initiative, as a concerning partnership for our allies in South America?
I read something about China influence in Brazil, building a railroad line or some kind of thing, but I don't think Uruguay will appreciate that too much because Uruguay is mostly United ally, and they bought some military equipment. Actually, China offered them Uruguay some military equipment, and they rejected. They bought it from Brazil and Spain with some fighter jets. That Brazilians, they have a lot of American parts in it. So they're supporting America instead of China.
Mr. Rinaldi, thank you. Well, I want to thank you all for providing us with the benefit of your testimony as well as your responses. Before closing, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to add any letters of support the committee has received be added to the record. I'll also note for the information of members that the record will remain open from this hearing until close of business tomorrow, June 13th, including for members to submit questions for the record. And with the thanks to the committee and staff here, this hearing is now adjourned.